Hey guys. Alright, so this is the the part 2 of the Edible Garden Paradise video. I spent another day with Barry and we were sort of just going through all of his remaining plants that we didn't touch on last time. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. I'm going to sort of break this video into parts, so like A, B, C, D, E, etc, whatever, to break this video up. I need to keep this punchy for you guys because I think a lot of people will lose interest when they see how long the last video was. So yeah, this is just brilliant quality golden information that Barry's putting on film here. So anyone that is remotely interested in wanting to grow their own fruit and veg for themselves and sort of know exactly the process, how to go about it, the species that you're limited to here in Perth on this one coastal plain in our sandy soils. There is just so much. This video is just jam-packed full of amazingly useful, handy tricks and tips to start growing all your own food. And I hope you get a sense for how awesome this is, what Barry's doing on his residential block, because it's really mind-blowing and he truly knows his stuff. I've learned so much from him already, so I won't keep going on. Hope you guys enjoy this part 1. If you watch any of these parts that I'm about to upload, please just watch this first part. I really hope you guys get something out of this because, you know, it's going to be a great little video series, what I'm doing here with this edible garden. So yeah, please just try and make it to the end of this first part. If you don't like what you've seen so far, then you can sort of opt out, but I'll make this first bit punchy and really informative and interesting. So please just try and stick through this first part, and then who knows, you might end up watching the next 4 because we shot for over an hour. So that's enough of me talking. Enjoy guys, peace. So hey everyone, we're back here on Barry's block, this amazing edible utopia that he's got going on. I might just throw it straight over to Barry and we'll start the part 2 of this video. So we're just going to touch on a few of the trees that we didn't see, and yeah, just give sort of part 2 of this tour. So I'll throw it over to you, Barry, with what you want to say.
Yep. Look, 2 things before we get underway. One is Sam has given me instructions not to sort of prattle on too much, which I want to do, and I have a lot of plants. So what I thought I would do is I'll show you enough so that you get an idea of the many plants that we can grow in Perth. And then that will leave a bit of time for me to then briefly show you some of the support operations to sort of grow things on this scale. The second point is that I only have a 1/4 acre block, and if you ever develop the passion for growing exotic fruit trees or any fruit trees, and you want you taste one somewhere in Southeast Asia and you think that's delicious, I've got to have some of those, so in the end you sort of finish up filling up the whole yard, and you have to be absolutely ruthless when you don't have 10 acres where you can just actually keep adding things, no problem at all. In a 1/4 acre, ruthless. If something you actually don't like the flavour of it when you finally get it to perform, or it takes forever and it still hasn't even flowered, let alone fruited, or it's too much trouble, or you get 3 fruits each year, thank you very much, etc. What you'll see is that not all, even though I've been going for several years, not all my plants are fully mature and umpteen years old. I'm turning them over all the time, including great big plants that might have a trunk like this that I've grown for umpteen years. I don't actually need it, it's got to make space for things because I've always got backups coming through. Probably only 30 or 40% of my plants are in the permanent staff of the team. It's a working garden, a producing garden, and if they don't perform, they're out. So 30 or 40%, you'll see that they're very, very mature. I maintain everything. A lot of plants, they want to grow they want to be in command, and they want to just grow vegetatively, say, if you mismanage them and not put a lot of energy into fruiting. And so you've got to get these things to behave so that they're not a mile high and you get lots of fruit each season. So I'll show you some of the babies that I've got coming through. I
Yep.
just wanted to show you, when you've only got a 1/4 acre, if we just go down here, you finish up wanting to use all the space you possibly can. So without going down there, if you just sort of look down at the second plant,
Tamarillo.
that's called a tamarillo, or
Yep.
a tree tomato. It's just about finished. There's about 3 or 4 fruits on there. I've already pruned it, and when those last few sort of ripen up, I will prune the thing right back, because they've got very soft wood, and if they tend to just keep growing out, and in the end they'll break branches and everything, and plus they'll get blown over.
Yep.
So you've got to prune them very, very hard. You get all your sort of fruit on new growth. So as I said, the last few fruits, and then that will sort of go back. They're deciduous, so you can see it's already losing some of its leaves.
So that's the tree tomato as well?
That's the tree tomato.
Yep.
Yep. Solanum batasea. Now,
Okay.
Just here, this is finished for the season. That's my almond tree.
Yep.
That's a self-fertile one. They normally need multiple trees for cross-pollination. There's a few self-fertiles, and that one's finished. The trouble with almond trees in Perth or in many areas is that they can be big trees, so you can see I prune it very hard each year. And secondly is birds, and so the parrots, they will come in once it gets on their radar. They will come around every season just at the right time, and if you don't watch them, they'll strip it. So in the end, if you want to keep most of your crop, you have to net.
Yep.
Now, one other thing, as we walked around here last time, that we sort of skipped over was I wasn't really allowed to have a mango tree for a long time, because we both come from Queensland, and over there we remember that, you know, the trunks can be this big and they can be ginormous. So it wasn't. So here I am now, sort of only a couple of years going.
Yep.
That's a Kensington Pride, just a standard seedling.
Where are we? The mango?
No,
oh, there.
Just there.
Oh, there. Yep.
Just there. So one of the other plants that we skipped over. Oh, before we finish mango, there's a few of us in the club. We have a very, very interesting variety that we've stumbled on. We call it the KA mango, and its seed is about 1% of the full fruit weight.
Oh, wow.
And it's got good yield, it's got good flavour, no other problems, and we're wondering whether we should sort of go down the road of trying to get plant breeders' rights and then get a grower to sort of run with it, and sort of who's prepared to sort of back it and do sufficient promotion and so on.
Yep.
But to get the control right up the front end.
So
now,
where did that variety come from?
I can't say.
Oh, I see. Cool.
Won't tell you.
Yeah.
It's probably fairly unique, because you know that mangoes are very messy, and there's this big thing called the seed in the middle there. There's got all these little sort of fibres coming out of it, and it takes up quite a bit of the fruit. And so this one also, the KA, has got low fibre. That's one of the other problems, and turpentine type flavour. So it passes all those. The big thing is it's almost seedless. You can't really say that. The endocarp, which is the sort of hard shell that surrounds the embryo, that's still there. It's immature, and it's very, very soft and very, very thin, and there's nothing to it. There's no embryo. The embryo aborts before it actually grows.
Yep.
Now I'm a Sapitaceae sort of fan, because they're just beautiful fruit. So this is one that I just actually pulled out. This was a cherry guava, and just in the last week or two, I had this fellow waiting. It was ready to go into the ground. Pulled it out, and no sooner it had gone than this one was ready to go in. It had its hand up and said, "Give me a chance, and I'll show you."
Yep.
And you can see it's already got some new growth coming on.
So that's just a white one?
This one is called a Puteria lucuma.
Yep.
So it comes from South America. Most of the good Puterias come from South America, so they're tropical fruits. There are many, many of them that are edible and just delicious, to my palate anyway, and to most people's palate.
And that's Sapitaceae family?
This one is from a sort of a lower area. You have to be very careful when you get things from the tropics. If their normal native range is within plus or minus 3 degrees of the equator, then we're about 32 or 33, I think it is. Degrees latitude, and so you're going to be really, really battling. Whereas this one comes from further south from the tropics, and you can see that there shouldn't be any problem. I think I can get that one to grow.
Yep.
2 other Puterias. This one's it's a relative of the Mamie sapote. If you've ever tasted Mamie sapotes, they're one of my top 10 fruits. They're quite a big thing with a browny sort of hard sort of skin.
Yep.
Reddish sort of flesh and a big seed. Green sapotes, I still have never tasted one, but everything that you read and talk to people who have, they say this is the best one.
Right.
And it can grow in this climate. And here's another one that should grow here, which I managed to get my hands on, and this is called Pateria macrophylla.
Yep.
Macrophylla. There's many of these. There's lots and lots of them that are edible.
Yep.
So they obviously need to grow up a bit more before I sort of put them in.
And that's South American, most of these Paterias?
All these, yeah, we've got a few Paterias that are endemic or native to Australia, but most of them are
pretty gross.
they're just nothing that you'd sort of walk over like cold for.
No.
If we keep going around, we've got to keep on the go.
Yep.
So I'm talking quickly. Now this one here is something that most people wouldn't know about. If you come around here, I sort of lined up a fruit to take a picture of.
Yep.
You get a shot in here.
Oh, custard apple.
So what this is, you can recognise the bumpy sort of fruit skin shape, which makes you think that it's like a custard apple.
No, it's not.
And the same flowers with the trifoliate flowers.
Yep.
Same sort of deal. This one's one of the common names is Brazilian custard apple. Its better name is Bariba. Common names are a disaster. People, you know, they give them names and so on, and then there's great confusion.
Yep.
So this is Rollinia deliciosa.
I thought it might be.
And the deliciosa gives you an idea that tastes bloody nice.
Yep.
They're like custard apples. They have fewer seeds. They're a little bit more self-fertile, less problems.
Yep.
They're a little bit mucilaginous, but that's not a problem. Those things will grow up to this size, over a kilo. I took along one to the Fruit Club meeting last year, and people are taking photos, and then we cut it up, and everybody shared it, and it's grabbing seeds and so on.
Right.
You can grow them up from seeds quite well.
Okay.
So that's that one.
And they grow fine here, hey?
They're topical, but you can see this one, like my carob, given the sort of history of the yard, it was falling over trying to get some sun, and I decided that this has been hacked back vigorously in the last sort of several months, and you can see that it's coming back beautifully.
Yeah, looking good.
And the crop load, I got about 60 fruit last year, anywhere from 300 up over to a kilo, 300 gram. And it won't do anything like that this year. Actually, you can, I think there's a couple up there. I spotted one. Oh yes, there we are. There's a little baby fruit up there.
Oh yeah.
See? So I'm not going to get anything like that because you can see all this massive pruning that I've done, and then I disturbed a lot of the roots in trying to straighten it up.
Yep.
So, but it's coming back.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
I always wondered if these grew in Perth well, these Rollinias.
Yeah, they grow well. I've passed progeny on to many people.
Yep.
This is a very common locust. You've got locusts. If you want it for ornaments or shade or something, seedlings are fine. If you want it to eat, you have to have a grafted sort of variety that's going to perform. And you can see here, I've grafted on scions from a good variety, and you can see that it's already starting to take.
Yep.
So that's that. Let's keep going down here. Go.
Yep. Oh, you prune your acerola.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is the one from last week.
Yeah, it's super vigorous.
Yep.
It had finished for the season.
Yep.
I mean, our spring, summer and so on is when most things crop. But for example, locusts, they're good in terms of spreading your cropping load throughout the year because they're just about the first fruit that you can pick sort of come
November time.
Well, no, even earlier than that. Come first, just right at the end of winter, early spring.